Hello everybody, it is Friday the 21st of October. Well, I want to briefly talk about why religion is opium to the masses, as Karl Marx said, and in that point he was actually completely right. But I want to also talk about what I really want to do and where I want to go next, and why I absolutely need help to do that. I really cannot do this on my own. So, but let's start with opium for the masses, religion. Now, when we talk about Christianity, we're talking about the Bible, which is a tree of knowledge. Religion that is being taught to us in the churches is an interpretation of the knowledge, their interpretation of the knowledge, and what it is we should do according to their interpretation. Spirituality, and if we're really becoming spiritual beings, which we should do, is understanding yourself in that text. That is true spirituality, is an understanding of yourself, of your own energies, how they are produced, how you create outcomes. And the knowledge is in that book. As I said, one thing we must do is put the correct meaning to the words, to the images, because the meaning, those are esoteric texts. The meaning is hidden in the images. So like, I just had another sleepless night, woke up at 2 o'clock and I don't actually know when I went back to sleep, thinking about the sons of God and the daughters of man. You know, what is the meaning of that? No, they were not aliens coming down having sex with, and producing shines. The higher meaning of that is the sons of God are knowledges that saw the desires of man. And as they were female, desires grown out of rational thought. Yeah? And they illuminated that knowledge. And then those that had the knowledge illuminated inside of them became men of great renown. There is so much, it talks about intentions, of emotions, of feelings, of ways of knowing. And it talks about, and that is the knowledge that Jesus brought, how to bring this into this world, to make it a reality. Yeah? But the way that Rome, and I just so that's very clear, used this to subdue the masses, and everybody else is doing it after that. As he elevated one part to become all. Yeah? When Jesus said, "For myself I ask nothing," when he became the doorway for really things to come into this world, to manifest, to become reality. And then, Jesus himself believed it. He said, "I was a part and now I am all." This is the perfect human being, and we're being taught that is the perfect human being. Ask nothing for yourself. Be in service to others. Self-sacrifice. Greater love has no man than to lay down his life, and all of that. But when you understand this correctly, that is the moment of prayer. And there is a lot that should happen before a moment of prayer. A lot of consideration, a lot of examination of desires, of thoughts, of energies, understanding the energies correctly. What will they produce? What outcomes will they produce? That is a knowledge of ourselves. It was really just one part. It is the moment of prayer. And that is not all. That is by no means all. Nor should we be in that state all the time. Because that is the moment where reason or reasoning stops. Where you have a certainty. So if you are in that state all the time, and Jesus was, you are void of reason. So no, that is not a state you should be in all the time. Absolutely not. So that is what we need to learn. What these meanings are, what it is working inside, that we can use this machinery correctly. Use ourselves correctly. Know what it is we're doing. Now I've been reading Carl Jung. I am reading Carl Jung at the moment, The Undiscovered Self. And there's again something he says that I thought was kind of mind-blowing, especially since he does not seem to have had the right end of the stick. You know? So he says, it is astonishing that man, the instigator, inventor, and vehicle of all these developments, yeah, we are the instigators, we are the inventors. This body is the vehicle, yeah, for all these developments, the originator of all judgments. See, that's where I think he really didn't understand where judgment is coming from at the moment, and it's not coming from us. Anyway, so the originator of judgments, all judgments and decisions, the planner of the future, must make himself such a quantity negligible. I was trying to get that word right. So unimportant. Let's go with unimportant. It's a stupid word. Anyway, so he must make himself an unimportant quantity. Only at the moment of prayer. Not before that. And even then he's not unimportant because he's working it. So the contradiction, the paradoxical evaluation of humanity by man himself is in truth a matter of wonder. And one can only explain it as springing from an extraordinary uncertainty of judgment. In other words, man is an enigma unto himself. No, uncertainty of judgment, yes. We are being told not judge. Don't judge. Don't judge. Let somebody else tell you, and then become that open door where there is a void of reason. And that if you are in that state, you are perfection. Which is, as I said, they took one small part and have elevated it to be all. And there's only one function in the whole, if we understand it correctly. But then he goes on, and that is actually pertaining to something maybe where a thought is in this world, which is, again, wrong. And let me show you that. So, he knows how to distinguish himself from the other animals in point of anatomy and physiology, but as a conscious, reflecting being, gifted with speech, he lacks all criteria of self-judgment. He is on this planet as a unique phenomenon which he cannot compare with anything else. The possibility of comparison and hence of self-knowledge would arise only if he could establish relations with quasi-human mammals inhabiting other stars. So basically what he is saying, and there is it's in other teachings as well, that we know ourselves by comparison. Yeah, that we can only know ourselves by comparison. And here Carl Jung is basically saying we need aliens to know ourselves. Yeah, and there is again this thought coming, there's aliens. No, absolutely not, absolutely not. If we say we can only understand ourselves by comparison, then we say we know this machinery by looking at another machinery, yeah? And that is to say, you will really understand your coffee machine if you compare it to the toaster. That is not going to work. You will not understand the coffee machine by comparing it to the toaster. So, no, we don't need aliens. What we need is, for starters, to understand those texts correctly, see what they're telling us, how far is the knowledge of ourselves in there, how we function, and then to say, that is not all. Yeah, that is as far as they got. Yeah. So this is not, this is set in stone now. Now, this would be a foundation from which we can work. That's all it is. And as I said, man, that man is here to compare himself to nature or see himself in nature. In some ways we can. In some ways we obviously can make comparisons. But I don't think that is the function of nature, that we compare ourselves to it. But the function of nature is, as I say, it works in part that way. But the real function of nature, that we are surrounded by other forms of life. Yeah, we need aliens, we need other forms of life. No, we're surrounded by other forms of life. And its function is to show us our impact on other forms of life. There is the knowledge of good and bad. How we impact on other forms of life. That is a great function of nature. Not to show us ourselves, but to show us what we are doing. How does that impact on all? And show us good and bad. Which at the moment is not looking good. So what do I want to do next? Here's the thing. And I'm not trying to start another religion. That is something I absolutely do not want to do. But a spiritual teaching, where we understand those texts inside of ourselves. We give the correct meaning to the pictures. Yeah? And we see then how that functions inside of ourselves, how we are moving our own energies. And what would happen if we eject those energies out of ourselves, what we do then. And that, actually, if that understanding, again, becomes a knowledge, that would add another dimension, another aspect to this reality, how we see reality. That would expand us into another dimension, into another aspect of our life and of what we are. And I was thinking, because as I said, I really think I must create somehow a schematic of this. Others have done it before, like the Tree of Life, like the Theosophists and others, that they're creating pictures, schematics of how this works. And I must do that too, because it is really complex. And I'm trying to keep it all in my head all the time, which really is not working. So that is what I must do. And I said, I tried before to use the Tree of Life. And to an extent it works. But it doesn't work in some respects. And to me, it came to me this morning, it is a bit like trying to put new wine into old skins. The old skin will not hold it. So we need something new. A new thought of how this is working, of how creation is created, and basically how we are created, how we create ourselves, how we should create ourselves, otherwise we're being created by something else, by ideas and by emotions that are given to us, and we don't know what we're doing. So this is what I feel I must do. This is what I need to concentrate on, what I want to concentrate on. And here goes. Jesus said that those that are dragged down by the cares of life, that don't have the space, to do this in, that they will not get there. And that is, to say that I'm dragged down by the cares of life at the moment is an understatement. I really need somebody to help me with this. Actually, maybe not so much with the thought, although, I need to produce that myself. And it's not like I haven't looked at other thoughts. It's not coming just out of myself. I'm putting puzzle pieces together. So it's not just myself. But maybe I just need to produce this as a finished product and then put it out for peer review, so to speak, which is the correct way. It will be grown out of myself, out of this perspective, out of myself, but using thoughts that came from somewhere else. But I think that is what I need to do. I need to produce a finished product, and for that, I need to be sustained. I need to have the space, I need to have the security to do that. And that is really what I need help with. Something to sustain me honest to God, materialistically. So I have got the space to do the other. And I feel a bit like, Lot getting out of Sodom and Gomorrah. And he was attaining a mountain. That is to say, he was trying to gain a knowledge or an understanding or whatever he was after. But to make that a solid reality in himself. And he said he could not do it. He asked God to take him to a place of safety because there was not enough time and he did not have the space to do that. And otherwise the evil would overcome him. And that is what I feel like at the moment, very much so. So, really, if there's somebody out there that can help me, that can sustain me materialistically, give me money, basically. Somebody that thinks this is worth it, that I am on the right path and that it is worth it, me doing it, then, if it's worth it, then help me do it. Anyway, I leave it at that for today. I will go on. This thing is driving me down. But it shouldn't be like this. And the other thing is that, it's pressing me too hard. Or rather, the necessity to get it done as soon as possible because I'm going under. That again is a bad thing, because this should not be done in a hurry. That could bring in mistakes purely out of rushing it. And again, that's a bad thing. Anyway, I leave it at that for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.